Stitched in Sovereignty, contemporary beadwork from Indigenous North America, exhibited in the Luna Chapel at the Couse-Sharp Historic Site, is hosted on the ancestral homelands of and adjacent to the contemporary federally imposed boundaries of Taos Pueblo. As guests on this land, we honor the history and sovereignty of the Red Willow people, who are celebrating the 50th anniversary of the return of Taos Blue Lake this year. This exhibit highlights diverse ways in which Indigenous peoples maintain sovereignty over not only their lands, but also their cultures, knowledge systems, and identities. Beadwork itself is a material expression of Indigenous sovereignty. While many Indigenous communities have practiced forms of beadwork for millennia, it was with the importation of European glass beads and steel needles that beading became a transcontinental tradition. Tribes integrated these trade goods into pre-existing aesthetic and material traditions, which have persisted for nearly 5 centuries. The artists featured here continue the innovations of their ancestors in expressing personal and cultural identity, in visualizing intergenerational knowledge, and in maintaining relationships with the lands they call home. Through their beadwork, they reassert the inherent right of Indigenous peoples to shape, reclaim, and re-envision what it means to be Native in the United States and Canada today. This work is by Chickasaw artist Shelby Rowe and is titled 21st Century Chickasaw Hatchet Woman. And in this piece, Shelby depicts a prominent figure from 18th century Chickasaw villages, which were hatchet women who would lead battles, and they would lead battle singing and carrying their hatchets. And even though the work depicts a historic figure, Shelby really wanted to remind today's viewer, and especially Native women, that they are not in fact powerless, as they're often portrayed in the media, but that they have centuries and generations long lines of power to draw on. In these 4 works by Molly Murphy Adams, the artist beads simple geometric designs taken from traditional beadwork motifs, but lays them on top of archival photographs from the American West. And in these pieces, she relates the historic traditions of beadwork to the ever-changing landscape of the West due to human intervention. One of the key components of Indigenous sovereignty is the right to shape our own identities and express them how we see fit. In these 2 works by Kellen Trenal Lewis, he taps into both his Nez Perce ancestry and his African American ancestry to express his own personal identity. And in these 2 works, one, a portrait of the Obamas lovingly beaded onto a purse, and the other, a sequined portrait of Beyoncé from her performance at Coachella, show how Indigenous identity is not relegated simply to historic beadwork, but to participation in contemporary popular culture as well. We are honored to present this groundbreaking exhibition online and in person in a limited fashion. Please visit the Couse-Sharp Historic Site website and the Stitched in Sovereignty website for the latest news on ways you can experience the exhibition through November 2020. We hope to see you in Taos.